Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here. As I was about to title today's video, here to rate my subscribers' comp Pro-Am builds in NBA 2K24. Now, when approaching a video like this, I'm expecting it's going to be a little bit more of like a novice perspective where it's more so talking about ranked Pro-Am or still talking about matchups, and that's the type of stuff I'm mainly looking for is people who are looking for those matchup chats or the, like, let's say leagues, tournaments, stuff like that. But obviously I expect that we're going to have a wide variety of skill gap when it comes to stuff like this. So I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to noties, all that good stuff, and like always, try to win 2,000 likes. Now, as you can see, doing a rate my build video, but the theme of this one is strictly comp Pro-Am builds. Show screenshots of ratings like this below, and give position/role you plan to play with your team. Now, I sifted through a lot of these and just ended up liking the ones that I wanted to talk about. It wasn't like a super deep dive though, but I wanted things like this where he's talking very descriptive of the stuff that he's looking for. And besides that, we obviously have more and more through here. All right, so I just counted them up and it's 8 of them. So we're gonna be rating 8 builds in today's video. So I hope you all enjoy and we're gonna get straight to it. So first off, we can see, and I do apologize, we're gonna be zooming this quite in a bit so that you guys can actually see the builds and stuff straight off Twitter. But anyway, first screenshot, and this is all we're going to be showcasing, not the second and third screenshots that he sent or anything like that, but Pro-Am guard build. Plays 1/2 depending on the lineup. I like it at the 1. Can screen, weave, or ISO, yada yada, and we'll look at all the other, innuendos of like the badges and stuff on our own. So first off, you can see no driving dunk, no standing dunk. I'm okay with that though. I personally think in this year's game of playing comp Pro-Am or just regular Pro-Am as well, you can get away with doing stuff like this, especially if you can work. However, I was going to say the midi game, but this is a little bit tough to operate from in terms of the pick and rolls. Now, it's obviously doable. I've seen people even do it, and some of the best players in the game are actually operating with like 77 or 84 mid or whatever the case may be of thresholds they want to hit. 92 3-pointer, very good threshold to hit with the pick and roll, PGs and stuff like that. I would recommend a little bit higher, but let's talk about what obviously he provides on the defensive end with his build, because obviously it's still solid ball handling with a gold speed booster, I believe, with all these requirements that you have right here, plus 93 ball handle even still with the killer combos and just the dribble packages you can get with this. 6'6" for being very just good in terms of hard to contest, and then also the best jump shots in the game like Tracy McGrady base, etc, etc. 94 prim D for Hoff Challenger, and even still the silver glove, silver interceptor at 85 steal. And this is an elite on-ball defender in my opinion. Now, what you can do to utilize these in the best ways, and we've already showed this a couple of times in this year's game, is if you run a lineup where maybe your shooting guard is a very comfortable on-ball defender as well, you could run some freaky lineups where you could run this build as your shooting guard defender, so to say, or you could even guard ball with something like this if you wanted to, and then have your other guard also still be good at perimeter defense, and then you could run double bigs with even still a back end. So I'm talking like what we used to do was obviously Tonic and Joey would be corner on offense and defense, and then I would play the back end pick and roll as well as guard the pick and roll. You could differ in the roles that you want to do with it, but long story short, what I'm trying to say is run 2 bigs in the corner on offense and then still run a pick and roller as well, and then you'd be able to operate off the fact that you're not playing with a lockdown technically, but you could do double rotates. You could rotate from either side of the court. You could have elite rebounding on the court as well, because both your guards can play at least elite perimeter defense. Maybe not overall defense like switchability and rebounding and shot blocking and stuff like that, but at least very good perimeter defense on some 2-3 zone stuff. So anyway, overall, I would say this build is very good. I like it a lot. We're going to give it a 9 out of 10. I really do appreciate builds like this in this year's game. The 2-way 3-hunting point guards, so to say. I guess I would ideally like a little bit more pass act too, but to be fair, I mean, there's not much else you really cut out on when it comes to stuff like this, unless maybe you are content with going with the silver speed booster instead of gold, which could be very valuable, and you could get a lot out of it by not having such high speed with ball and maybe dropping either speed or excel a little bit lower. Same with, I think strength doesn't really give you a whole lot more to this point. I think you got the bronze movable enforcer off this, so if that's something you really value defensively, that's fine, obviously. And there's a lot of other things that come with it, between like, let's say, brick wall and movable. I believe there's other things as well, like fearless finisher. You get a decent level with the strength, but not that we care about that too much. And then clamps as well. Also, if you guys didn't know, I'm pairing up with the NBA 2K Lab this year, so you can use code Laker for 20% off at checkout at their website. That's NBA2KLab.com. On this website is all types of really good statistical jump shot information. You can also test the jumpers on their website too. Plug the controller straight into your phone or to your PC. You can get early, green, late. It'll tell you where you need to adjust on that jump shot. Or if you don't know what jumper you want to run, you just go to their jump shot recommender, you punch in your height, the jump shot rating that you're working with, and then based on the milliseconds of timing that you get, it'll recommend you a jump shot. So again, if you want to use code Laker for 20% off at checkout, that's NBA2KLab.com. Appreciate you guys, and we'll get back to the video. Anyway, moving along to the next one, we got Raps right here. He's got an inside pick and roll, and he guards corner on defense. Pretty standard, and believe it or not, this is actually very similar to the type of build that I want to make if I were to remake my build. So he does have a little bit higher of a free throw and mid-range. I don't really agree with putting the midi up to 30 because I believe the only thing that gets tied to that is close shot. So personally, I don't think the difference on 5 free throws is really that important to like do a useless upgrades of mid-range. You may not think it's a big deal, but it is a little bit more expensive than you would think for how low the thresholds are. But regardless, he has a little bit lower of a speed with ball and acceleration than I would prefer. They are extremely cheap at these levels. 60 ball handle though, very good. 95 pass sack, also elite. I've been playing on a 7-footer with 95 pass sack, similar offense rebounding, more to that like 93 threshold. But this is what I want to kind of recreate if I were to do another one, where it would be a 99 offensive rebound with silver anchor, and that's mainly what we're going for. You could debate even a little bit lower to like the 78 block and the 61 interior. I know it sounds ridiculous to hear that if you aren't really too experienced with how the interior defense and block works in this game, but you really can cut out the value on it quite a bit. For some people, they may prefer the 60 steal threshold to go for that bronze interceptor as well, but I guess for me, sometimes I feel like when it's this low of a steal rating, I prefer to just not even upgrade it at all and maybe put a little bit more into prim D just for the sake of contesting shots. Simple as that. And then still very good strength, good speed, all that stuff. The vert is still looking obviously solid as well. You could go a little bit higher technically, I believe, but either way, I think it's a pretty good build overall. I'm going to also give it an 8 out of 5 out of 10. I like the driving dunk on a pick and roller in this year's game too, where you don't have to sit there and wait to actually just sit below the basket to be able to dunk meter. You can just dunk on rotating defenders with pro contact dunks, and it works amazingly, and I definitely vouch for it. It's super heavy. So 8 out of 5 out of 10 in my opinion. Really good look, and he also has another build that we're going to be showcasing right here. This is his popper build in this situation. So they're both 7-footers, as you can see. So 2 builds from him. I know that might be a little bit of quote-unquote special treatment for a video like this, but I think it's fine. They both look like very good builds, so I wanted to showcase them both. So in contrast to that, obviously, the type of things you're going to be sacrificing to get a shooting ability on your build, of such being 74 3-pointer and 80 mid-range. So we have a little bit down in the pass sack, down to 92 for that half break starter instead of going for the touch passer and relay passer at the 95 threshold. A little bit lower on the block, as you can see, he's going for that bronze anchor, silver chase down threshold I'm talking about. He could technically go lower on the interior D if that's the case too, because I believe you need 74 to be able to get, I think it was like post-move lockdown or something like that. I think 72 might give you workhorse on some level, but I don't really recall too well. Again, I still stick to the same ideas as far as the prim D and steal. And then rebounding wise, I think it's plenty good, especially for a popper. 93 O board and 85 D board is plenty fine. If you pop a lot though, now here's the thing, I don't think he does like do spam pick and pops, because obviously, as you can see, he's still got a driving dunk and a standing dunk, and with the idea of keeping the offensive rebound, the idea behind that is that they're the harder ones to get, so you want to be able to upgrade the one that is going to allow you to do so. But in contrast to that, being a popper, you would debate potentially you could do higher defensive rebound, lower offensive rebound, because you're not constantly around the rebounds when it comes to being on the offensive end. Whereas on defense, you're always going to be trying to hawk the rebounds, because obviously this is a build that's going to be playing corner D. You don't want it playing back end. I know, like if you come from the rec center or like ranked pro-am, you may think that sitting a big guy in the paint might be the best way to go on defense, but typically you want to put him in the corner competitively and rotate him down rather than to just sit paint and provide no back end help D on screens or anything like that. But overall, it still looks very good. Considering that this is all you lost on the sacrifice for getting shooting on your build, you could debate that 99 O board is useless if it's like at the expense of literally being able to shoot the ball, and that's it in terms of the sacrifice you made, besides one other small sacrifice of the 3 pass hack and then the silver anchor instead of bronze. But at the same time, 99 O board is extremely like devious in this game as far as what I've seen, and pretty much everybody's running a 99 rebound build at the 4 and the 5 in this year's game. I would say most centers are running 99 O board, and then most 4s are running 99 D board. But either way, I still vouch for that 93. It's looking really good. Paired with the strength, you can get the box out beast on Hall of Fame. I think it's a very good build. This is actually, in my opinion, a better popper build than the inside build he showed before. And I know it's ironic because I was planning to make something very similar to what he just had right there, but I have some more modifications on the inside that I would prefer to do. So with this popper, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's very, very good. I really do respect a lot of the thresholds he's hitting with this. But anyway, moving along, we got Chuck right here. Chuck's been a follower or subscriber of mine for a long time, so I know he plays 2K at least consistently. I don't know at what competitive level, to be fair, but let's go ahead and just look at the build regardless. So power forward playing back end hedge, and we'll also switch when needed. So obviously a typical 4 role where you're going to be playing, you know, like I said, the back end defense. You're going to be very capable interior defending, especially with this. I mean, he's got 85 interior with 92 block. 93 defensive rebound as well with an offensive rebound. Even still is going to be coming out here with an 87 prim and 85 steal. This is what stands out to me early on though, is I would think like with typical back end builds and the versatility, especially if that's what you're talking of being able to switch on ball, I think 91 steal is the threshold to be targeting a little bit more here, especially with the max wingspan that he's got. I would prefer higher steal rating on a build like this and maybe less offensive rebound or even less anchor potentially, like the 87 block potentially, but I know some people will differ in that opinion. And obviously when you're playing the back end, if you want to be elite, you're going to be able to play really good chase down opportunities if you're going with that gold level. But anyway, besides that, 80 speed, solid acceleration for the bronze fast feet, and then 90 strength for the gold immovable. I respect not going for, you know, anything way too high in comparison to that. What I will say though, in, you know, kind of contrast to that, is I believe he could go down on the weight quite a bit more, like, and still maintain having that 90 strength, 93 D-board if that's all he's really focused on. Because besides that, I think you could gain back like maybe 1 speed at least. It's very minor tweaks, but that's at least something I was going to point out. And then on top of that too, I'm not a huge fan of super high standing dunk on a build that you're not going to meter dunk on regardless, especially with not having the big man contacts. To be fair, I don't know, maybe he does meter dunk like a good bit below the basket, even though he doesn't have the big man contacts. But I guess what I'm saying is I would prefer maybe a little bit less standing dunk at the expense of maybe you could get a lot of better jump shots if you have a good mid-range, and it's actually pretty cheap for that matter. Or, again, like you really could up that steal rating with the amount of cost that you put in the standing dunk right here. I know it may actually be kind of cheap though, considering that he doesn't have a super like crazy amount of upgrades on his finishing, which we've talked about in a previous video, how the less upgrades you put into a category, then the cheaper the rest of them will become. And essentially if you start inflating like things like close shot and driving lay and driving dunk super high and even standing dunk, it makes your post control even more expensive, which is just my example of what I'm talking about. But either way, very good back end build with the versatility it has on defense. I guess I'm just saying I would prefer a little bit more steal. That's it. But besides that, good vert, good strength, good speed, yada yada, good stamina. I don't think he's missing out on any thresholds because he doesn't have a super high prim D to miss out on workhorse or 94 feet or anything like that on anything higher than gold. So I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10. Again, very good build. I know to be fair, you know, in the last video we did, and holy moly, is this gonna be a tough one to kind of get the whole vision of. I guess it'll be a little bit smaller, but with the last video that we did, I kind of did blind rankings. Like, I did blindly who we were going to rank. Whereas on this one, I wanted to look for builds more specifically good, I guess, so to say. So the curve is going to be a little bit different on a video like this, in my opinion. Whereas in the last one, I was just randomly picking every single one that just popped up first. And we were going to go ahead and like look at them straight up like that. So this one is a little bit more premeditated on which ones we're going to be looking at. So JP right here, my latest lock for our Pro-Am games. Gold immovable, gold catch, 73 standing for bronze, you know, rise up and fast twitch. Come to find out, fast twitch doesn't do anything from 2K Labs, but either way, I understand trying to put it on a build. Sit left corner on offense, cut when needed, play top on top left on defense in a 2-3, but then top middle in a 3-2. Guard most pick and rolls. 86 midi was to get my favorite jump shot. So this is obviously gonna be a swing build if that's the case. And yeah, I mean, the swing jump shots definitely hit that sweet spot of like 86, 87, 87 being T-Max. So I guess he doesn't really mess with it that much. But either way, it's meant to be a corner offensive build, and I respect the higher mid-range on stuff like this, and you know, the gold open looks that you get with it, etc, etc. 94 prim, 96 steel, I like that a lot, paired with pretty decent speed at 85. Good strength, gold immovable, you like that as well, and you don't need it like super high vert for the type of dunks that he has or anything like that. It's not super versatile. I don't think it's really too much of a switch type build or anything like that, but 60 D-board does give him bronze rebound chase or bronze box out beast too, so I'm sure you can at least somewhat chip in on rebounds as well with that. And besides that, good enough interior defense for that bronze anchor as well, which you can get at 6'7", because that's the minimum height you have to be for it. And I think it's actually a pretty good, like, when you start taking a deeper look at this, then I think it's pretty good. Now, how does 75 dunk with 73 standing perform? I think pretty good. I mean, I've seen 65s get the job done too. I don't know what dunk packages you get specifically, anything further like than 65, to be fair. But anyway, besides that, 77 acceleration gives him gold fast feet as well. I mean, it's very good threshold to hit everywhere. It's one of the builds that I wouldn't really think to make myself, because typically I do invest like lower into the driving and standing dunk on builds like this to be able to get them maybe just more into your defense or rebound or something like that, to be able to be a more versatile guy. But with a 6'7", it's a pretty intricate height where it's really weird like combo. You don't know whether you want to be like a versatile switch everything kind of guy, or if you want to just be more of a prim lock. So in this case, he's a little bit more of a prim lock that has low-key versatile switch ability, but the bronze box out beast might not really be getting the job done if you switch onto a center. I mean, like, you're gonna have to really hold your own on that box out. But overall, I would say with everything considered, the role and everything he's talking about between the fact that he plays zone, and this is the type of stuff I was talking about too, because like in the comp scene, you're not going to see people run zones too much, like a true 3-2 or a true 2-3 or anything like that. It's a little bit more man defense with rotate, aka zone principles. But I mean, with the way that they have this set up, it sounds like it's set up to be very good with the way they want to play. So, you know what? I was going to budge on it and say maybe we should just go 8 out of 5 out of 10, but I'm going to still give it a 9. I honestly think, like, everything, all things considered, like the 40 ball handle, 40 speed with ball threshold he's hitting with as well, I think it's very good. I think this is a really, like, lethal lock build out the corner. Offensively, you can even still create a little bit more than you would expect with that, you know, 40-40. You got the good midi, you got some dunk ability on you as well, and, I mean, you could still be a cutter. I think it's actually very good. And then add in the fact that you still get some finishing badges with 90 as well, and then, obviously, it was made for defense because of the strength, but still factors into O, and I think it's a pretty good build. But anyway, up next we have a stretch center with an inside dunk and post game, solid all around, triple double machine in the right hands. Now, what I wanted to talk about with a build like this is I think it's a little bit low on the offensive rebound if you're playing as a 7-1 center who is also going to be kind of focal point in terms of you may be in the post a little bit, you may be meter dunking down low a little bit, and like whether it's the pick and roll you may even be on for that matter. I understand the mid range is high and like you may be used as a pick and popper or post up in that regard, because 85 post control plus 86 mid range is going to give you that half post fade phenom and et cetera, stuff like that. But I guess I would just prefer if it had a little bit more offensive rebound, and maybe at the expense of your blocking into your defense being a little bit lower. And by that, I mean maybe you could even go down to that 61 threshold and the 78 that I'm talking about most recently. I think it'd be really good, personally. I mean, he meets all the thresholds, though, as far as the vert and the standing dunk, etc., stuff like that. I like it. Do I like it enough to rate it over the other popper build that we've already seen, though? Probably not. I'm going to give this one like a 7 out of 5 out of 10, in my opinion, or a 7.5 out of 10. I don't know why I said a 7 out of 5, but anyway, I really do prefer when you have like a driving dunk mixed in with this standing dunk. It makes you so much more of a pick and roll threat. I understand that it may be utilized as a pick and pop a little bit more, but I don't know. I mean, the 65 is still a good threshold to hit that we've already mentioned with those athletic hangs off one for like, you know, consistent dunks that you can still trigger in the pick and roll. It's just that meter dunk is such a different level of like toughness to defend out of that, and that's maybe me just being biased as well. I would also prefer if he maybe had like 60 ball handle to be able to do a couple more specific dribble moves that we've also mentioned in previous videos. And you know, between I don't even know, maybe I'm gassing big driver as well, because it's not even that crazy of a badge. So I don't know, maybe I'm just speaking too much on stuff like that. 40 speed of ball is still gonna give you that blowout dribble effect that you can get with that normal dribble style, so we like that. Again, I'm gonna just probably go more like an 8 out of 10, to be honest. I think it's a very decent build, but nothing like super crazy. I preferred the other one, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Brody's build right here. So we have a secondary ball handler. We'll call it just a shooting guard build. It's about as simple as that. So it's meant to like guard the hash and then play hash offense as well. That's like the typical shooting guard role. It's the only type of build where it plays the same two spots on offense and defense in traditional team settings. Whereas like point guards guard corner, even though they run the PG, locks guard the point guard but then sit in the corner, and then fours, you know, guard the back end but then they play offense in the corner. So two guards, they get the only role in typical offensive and defensive roles where you're going to be guarding the hash and playing the hash. So we have a 98 mid-range build with that Hoff blinders, Hoff deadeye, and then we have the 92 three-pointer as well for the silver limitless. It's going to have 81 layup as well. Interesting for sure. I mean, with this little investment of like finishing in general, to go that high on a layup is pretty interesting. But yeah, obviously there are some packages that we've talked about, like Jimmy Butler, which is good for like floaters and sometimes scoops, I guess. You could look for other scoop packages out of certain layup packages if you would like as well. Pass act, pretty low. I will say though, I've seen people succeed on this game with low pass ac, even at the point guard position. So this one being more of a shooting guard, it can get the job done, I guess. But it's pretty tough sometimes. It depends who you're playing with as the big man, to be real with you. Because some bigs, they're cool with just sitting paint, playing for the board, grab the O board, you know, on the like a shot chuck, pretty much simple as that. And this build is that. It's going to be a shot chucker. I mean, you got the crazy mid range, the blinders, space creator, Deadeye, all that stuff, mini magician, everything. And I mean, you're generally going to be able to just chuck up a shot rather than even pass the ball. And then the center will probably just grab an offensive rebound into the meter dunk, and it's the same effect. But then you have, you know, a lot of different talks of like shooting slumps and stuff like that. We're not going to go too deep into that. But either way, once again, it's another gold speed booster type build with that 87 excel and then the 93 ball handle, 83 speed with ball. And I guess that's what he's going for, you know, speed booster, being able to shoot, and then solid layup option. So it is a little bit of a 3-level threat, but it's just like kind of in weird ways, right? Because it's limited in the pass ac, it's limited in the dunking, but it does still have very good mid-range, good three-pointer, and then obviously the ability to handle the ball with even still the layups. Now, defensively, I would appreciate if it had the bronze fast feet with one more prim D. That's about all I'd really like concern myself about that much. Other than that, it gets bronze challenger as well, which is definitely good enough to contest the hashes. I think it can get by. It's a little bit limited in terms of its switchability, where you don't want to switch this onto a point guard quite as much, in my opinion. But besides the fast feet, again, bronze challenger is still good enough. 80 speed, pretty mid, but it's okay. It's mainly meant to just be playing lanes, I guess. Simple as that. And if you get rotated on a stack or something like that, you're going from hash to corner, you can play that corner lane. You can just play hash lanes as well. Fast break defense, steal definitely helps to have in some situations as well. And yeah, I guess overall, as far as a shooting guard build, I'm gonna also give this one another, I hate to, you know, be repetitive here, but I'm gonna give it like an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. I think it's, once again, a very solid build that, you know, it's not like a copy and paste what everybody does at this position, but it still does look pretty good. It's just the pass ac. I think, me personally, if I was playing with this, I wouldn't be too happy about receiving passes from 69 pass ac, especially considering with my meter dunks and stuff like that. I prefer to really get into them a lot quicker than, you know, you would be getting with this, because it's all about how soon that corner can drop, and before, like, it's all about how soon you can lock into that dunk before the corner is down into the paint and has already dropped. And then, as you can see, we have the last one right here. We got Pro-Am, two-way perimeter shot creator. Secondary ball handler. You know, again, I get it. You can tell me it's left corner, but I guess corner just is fine enough anyway. I play left corner in 2-3. On offense, I play hash in 5-out set or run the point in transition. So I'm not really quite sure what run the point in transition really meant entirely. I know obviously that means like if he gets it, like my interpretation on that is if he gets it in the fast break, then he'll still run point guard. I don't think transition means anything in terms of who runs the point or not, technically. I would figure it's more of like a speech of when you get into the half court set from there. But not really sure. Either way, we're going to keep on moving along. Traditionally, shooting leaning mid-ranges or shooting the hash, occasional floaters and lays in the paint. So, again, just to recap, we're talking a 5-out offense that he's going to be playing hash on, and then he plays corner in like the 2-3. So kind of what Joe knows like point guards do, in a sense, where like Joe runs the point in the 5-out, but then he has like people that are capable of handling the ball on the left hash, but then they guard left corner on defense, like my boy Bullet is doing this year for him. But personally, I think I would prefer if a build like this were to be playing hash offense or hash defense, in my opinion. Now, to be fair, he has a really high defensive rebound on this with the silver rebound chaser, so that's probably why and possible that he can still play for the rebounds and he feels comfortable playing corner D. Whereas his point guard is probably playing hash D in that case, and he's probably trying to get out on the break, like especially once again how Joe does, where he's trying to get out on the break and play the hash D, even though there's probably a build more capable and more reasonable to put on the hash D instead. Because this one right here, I mean, this high of a steal rating, I'd prefer to put it on the wings, in my opinion, especially pair it with good perimeter defense. Like if you were to up it to 87 and get that gold challenger. And also, I don't really like the level of shooting that this has if you're talking like hash offense. The job has been done before, but I guess what I'm trying to get at here is between everything, whether it's like another threat handling the ball. I mean, 90 ball handle is good, I understand that, but it is only silver speed booster off the fact that you have 75 speed of ball. And again, the acceleration still kind of mid as well with the 79. It's still solid though, for sure. And like the strength is solid too, because you're going to be able to get like box out beast on I think that's silver. Yeah, gold's 85 D-board. And then you get, you know, other things like, let's say, even Brick Wall, for instance. I don't know if he plans to do two-man game with his point guard or anything like that, or if they use him as a screener at all. It's possible. I mean, in a 5-out offense, you actually can do that pretty consistently. But overall, I'm going to give this one like a 6.5 out of 10 in my opinion. It's not good enough at one specific thing in my opinion. Like, to play corner D with 95 steal is cool and all, but it's not like some terrorizing, like, crazy factor in the game. It's a good rebounder and it can contribute, but I don't think that's like a driving force here. Its Prim D is like, I don't know. It's just another build that can't rotate in the corner, and it kind of sucks when that's not your point guard in my opinion. That's like being condemned to that life. And then it's not super elite on the shooting. 87 midi though does give him that T-Mac base, so that's solid. It's just the expectancy of the fact that you don't have any dunk, you don't have elite three-pointer, the pass act kind of mid, but you know, ball handling is good, but it's still only enough for gold, silver speed booster, and the hyperdrive is probably gold, maybe silver, I'm not sure. I think 86 is the threshold that you might be hitting on that. But anyway, again, I'm gonna give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's a solid build, but overall could use a couple tweaks here and there in my opinion. But I mean, hey, everybody plays their own way, and this man right here probably just, you know, prefers the way that he has it right here. Anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub, new time notice, all that good stuff, and like always, try to 2,000 likes. Made to the end of the video. Put build or put pro-am or put comp in the comments. Any of those three: comp, pro-am, or build, if you'd like to show your support that you made all the way through the end of the video. Also, if you guys want to check out the Twitter, feel free to. I don't know, it's not like it's something super crazy, but you just keep up to date with pretty much what I've been saying and stuff. It's some inspirational stuff on life, yada yada, and also just, I don't know, I like keep you up to date with some funny, interesting things here. Like I was watching Avatar, I watched the 100 or the 100 as well. I've been kind of binging some shows and stuff. I haven't been on 2K as like heavy as I would like to, but I don't know. To be fair, I'm kind of just enjoying playing sparingly and not spamming the game 24/7 every single day. So yeah, I've been watching a couple shows that I really liked so far, the 100 and Avatar, and it was my first time watching Avatar actually. And you know, like I said in the tweet, I thought when I started watching it to be something I was 10 years too late to because it felt too childish. But nah, man, that boy Uncle Iroh, he was dropping some gems, bro. He was such a true inspirational, just like preaching to the youngins. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed, and like I said, if you want to check that out, the Twitter, feel free to. And other than that, take these, man. Peace.